Perhaps the greatest enemy of Judaism is hatred. True, we're hated by non-Jews. We have a history, terrible history of pogroms and expulsions and tortures and holocausts. But our real enemy is hatred between brothers. Jews hating one the other. And this week's Torah portion, his reading is called Vayeshev. Vayeshev is the story of how Joseph's brothers hated him. Joseph was one of the 12 tribes, a holy person. His brothers also were holy people, but nevertheless they were jealous of him and they hated him. The Torah explains why it's not important now, and I don't know if it was really so important to them either. They just hated him because they were jealous of him. He was different than them. To the degree that they even took him and threw him into a pit full of scorpions and snakes. And then afterwards he was sold to the non-Jews and he was taken into Egypt, and finally he went into Egyptian captivity in prison. And he sat in Egyptian captivity for more than 10 years. How could it possibly be that any person that had so much bad occur to him, and because of so much hatred, how could he survive? So the Lubavitcher Rebbe answers this question. And he says, if you see an interesting thing, after Joseph was sitting in prison for 12 years, as he saw that there were two ministers, the minister of wine and the minister of bread, that the king of Egypt, Paro, threw into prison together with him. Now this should have made him happy because he saw that other people, those who were tormenting him, also are now being tormented. Also, he was in a worse situation than they were. He didn't have any friends. His own brothers hated him. At least maybe these people had some friends outside. But nevertheless, Joseph went and asked them, Lama ponecham ra'im hayom? Why are you so unhappy? Now, it's a pretty ridiculous question. Obviously, they were unhappy because they were thrown into prison. And he couldn't help them anyway. Why did he ask them? So the answer is because despite all the bad that happened to him, he knew that the only reason for life is to be positive. He didn't want to perpetuate this bad. There's a cycle of hatred going in the world because people hate me and they do bad to me, so I'll take it out on someone else. And parents take it out on their children, and those children grow up and they become parents and they do it to their children and you do it to others. Someone has to break this cycle. Someone has to break the cycle that even though what was done to them bad, that they don't pass it on to others. And that's what Joseph taught us. And he opened up the door for us also. Just because people do bad to us doesn't mean that we have to remember that and justly so to treat the whole world bad. We have to look at the world, that what's lacking in the world is a little bit of good. And that we can change the world by just being positive, by caring for others, by helping others, by thinking about others, by teaching others, even by thinking good, a good thought about others. This is the solution to all the world's problems, to break the cycle of negativity and selfishness. That's exactly what Mashiach is going to do. Mashiach will be a Jew that will teach everyone how much God loves us and how God has overlooked the negativity that we've been giving back to him. He loves us unconditionally. You see, he's creating us. And with passing on this love to others will make others realize that they too are made in the image of God, Jew and non-Jew as well. And with this, we can transform the whole entire world to a cycle of good and happiness and love and brotherhood. That's why we need Mashiach now.
Moment of Wisdom, sub-brief and life-changing moments. Join us. Subscribe to Moment of Wisdom channels on YouTube, Telegram, Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp.